The rain outside was a relentless drum against the glass, a constant dreary rhythm for Sarah's equally constant dreary work. She sat alone, a single point of light in the vast, darkened expanse of the call center floor. Desks and chairs stood empty around her, like silent tombstones in a corporate graveyard. The city's neon signs bled through the rain-streaked window, painting her small cubicle in shifting hues of electric blue and garish pink. A glance at the corner of her monitor confirmed the late hour, 11:58 p.m. Just 2 more minutes, and she could escape this fishbowl of solitude and return to the comforting anonymity of her small apartment. The thought was a small, warm ember in the cold, empty office. Suddenly, the shrill, piercing ring of her desk phone shattered the quiet. Sarah jumped, her heart lurching into her throat. Who would be calling this late? The company's lines were supposed to switch to the automated night service at 11. Her eyes darted to the small LCD screen of the phone. In stark, blocky letters it read unknown. Beneath it, where a number should have been, there was only a blank space. A wave of unease washed over her. It was probably just a system glitch, a misrouted call from another time zone. With a weary sigh, she lifted the receiver, the plastic cool against her ear. "Thank you for calling Omnicorp," Sarah speaking. "How may I help you?" The only reply was a burst of static, a sound like grinding teeth and rustling leaves. Faintly, through the digital noise, she could just make out what sounded like whispers, distorted and unintelligible. "Hello, is anyone there?" Sarah asked, her professional tone wavering slightly. The whispering continued, a low, sibilant hiss that seemed to curl around the edges of the static. A shiver traced its way down her spine. This was just a prank, a late-night crank call. Annoyed, she jabbed at the end call button, but nothing happened. The line remained open. She tried again, pressing the button harder, but the call persisted. The whispers on the other end began to coalesce, the fragmented sounds slowly weaving themselves into discernible words. "Lost! So lost!" it hissed, the voice thin and reedy like a dry autumn leaf skittering across pavement. At that moment, the overhead fluorescent lights above her flickered violently before one of them went out with a soft pop, plunging her corner of the office into deeper shadow. Her gaze flickered to the periphery, where for a split second, she thought she saw a tall, slender figure standing by the far water cooler. But when she looked again, there was nothing. Her breath hitched, her knuckles white as she gripped the phone. The voice grew stronger, clearer, cutting through the static with chilling precision. "You took my shift, Sarah." The words were no longer a whisper, but a direct accusatory statement. "You were supposed to be sick. You took my shift." A cold dread, sharp and absolute, seized her. She remembered now. A few months ago, her co-worker, a quiet man named David, had called in sick. She had reluctantly agreed to take his late shift, desperate for the overtime pay. The next day, she learned he had never made it home. A car accident on the rain-slicked highway. "I was on my way home," the voice rasped, a chilling echo of a memory she tried to suppress. "It should have been you." As the voice spoke, the office around her warped. For a fleeting instant, she saw David's pale, gaunt face reflected in her dark computer screen, his eyes wide and hollow. The empty chairs around her seemed to hold spectral occupants, their heads all turned toward her. With a final deafening crackle of static, the line went dead. The silence that followed was heavier, more profound than before. It pressed in on her from all sides, thick and suffocating. Sarah stared at the phone in her hand as if it were a venomous snake. Her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic prisoner in her own chest. Slowly, shakily, she placed the receiver back in its cradle. As if on cue, the remaining lights in the office went out one by one, plunging her into absolute darkness. She was utterly alone, a tiny island in a sea of black. Then from the empty space right beside her ear, a final faint whisper echoed through the silent room, a cold breath against her skin. "See you tomorrow?" The screen fades to black.